All right, we should be live. What did I forget to do? Did I forget to do anything before going live this time? I didn't restart my machine, but we should be okay. Performance seems okay. Let me turn down the volume in my ear, but hopefully it's a good level for you. Let me reload Twitch. Cool. Okay. Hey, John.
Hi.
Nicodemus, thank you for 22 months. Hello. Coding Caffeine. Howdy. Nicodemus, you said you'd be here today, and here you are. Man of your word. Carthage, 86. Hello. How you guys doing today? Quixana? Talet? Hello? Hey Liz. Liz, I just now saw your question that you shot over to me. I honestly don't know. That would actually be a conversation that we would have with Robert as well to answer your question. I've been listening to a lot of like Toto and other 80s music while working in the garden. Well, that reminds me, I need to get some photos. I need to break out an actual like on the A Loving Robot Discord. I need to just make a channel for just for garden stuff. But been listening to a lot of Toto, so whenever I see Quixana's name, I think of isn't it the Toto song that's Roxana? Roxana, yeah, take me all the way. Do 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 do. Rosanna, that's it. Rosanna, not Roxana. Jasmine's laughing at me in the other room. It's like she's not even a native English speaker and she knew that. Why am I so bad at that sort of thing? No, there are no in-game maps, but if you do, maybe you just take screenshots from that altitude. I don't, you know what? I would, if we were to have something that you can acquire, Roxanne was definitely a police. That one I know, but for some reason I confused Rosanna and Roxana. But I would say like hand-drawn would be cooler. Hand-drawn with some maps showing some stuff and not other stuff or whatever, but then the acquisition would be the question. But we'll figure it out. It comes up enough, and then there have been so many rad ideas on that front that we'll figure something out. I mean, there's so many easy solutions based on the ideas, but it'd be interesting if we could just make it a little bit cooler, just with a little bit of additional design work. You know, incorporate trade skills and acquisition and give it a little gameplay. What I'm doing right now is this is just so I can take a screen grab and then use that to document some stuff. It's easier to keep track of because we're just we're doing multiple level ranges in a given zone and all of that. If you look, actually, I'm not going to show you that. That's top secret info. Anyway, I was about to show you a document and be like, yeah, and here's how it just these levels here and that level there, and this is that's how we can track it. So, Miko Bites, hello. DC Raid Boss says, hey, was just at PAX West and there was a panel about EverQuest. Said some dev was trying to convince Daybreak to have a fanfare for the 25th year anniversary. Oh, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be kind of fun. If they're really cool, they would invite everybody that ever worked on the game out and pay for their plane ticket and hotel. I still think cities like Night Harbor should be fairly detailed in game. Smaller towns less so. Wilds with general routes and very rough approximation. Well, I appreciate that is your feeling, John. I disagree, but I believe strongly in your right to have opinions, even if I don't agree with them. Horrific. It says, what are you laughing at? What did I say that you're laughing at? Invite everyone and pay for their plane tickets? Yes. Invite everybody that ever played EverQuest and pay for their plane tickets. I could get on board with that. Can you dig it? Crop. SGS overhead. I always forget how to pronounce her screen name. Is it Brass or Brassy? But she was the bearded dwarf lady, right? For some reason I thought she worked for another company now. I thought she was somewhere else, but that's cool if she was there. Is that MS Paint? Absolutely. It's a very powerful tool. Very, very powerful MS Paint. Great for working on documents. Oh, wait. Is that a new company? Let me check it out. I know there are a couple new news. Cities have maps readily available like tourist bureaus. I don't know. I think that's a newer invention, buddy. I don't know. I'm find me a reference in like a Forgotten Realms book where they're like, as we entered the city, we quickly found a tourist bureau and asked them for a map of the city. And thus all the mysteries were gone. Look here in the northeast, it's a secret hideout. Arise Gaming. Arise Gaming. I mean, who knows? I may agree with you eventually, but there's an interactive Forgotten Realms maps online, so apparently they even had internet. Checkmate. Rise Gaming. I'm not finding anything that looks like an actual game company. Rise Studios. About that. Okay, now I found something. This is how we find out the ancient Egyptians had HoloLenses with mini maps. They may have. I wouldn't be shocked if that was the case, but the average person stumbling into town probably didn't have access to it. The Rogues Guild could sell maps to players, luring them to spots for other guild members to ambush. That'd be funny. That type of map would be fun though. That's the kind of thing like we were talking about last stream. Treasure maps and some maps having certain stuff and blah blah blah. I mean, because we could easily do that, right? Like if you're in possession of one of the trap maps, we can have a volume know that you have the map and then activate encounter. Liz Kimber said city maps go back to the 1500 BC. Don't try to convince me with actual historical data. I believe in that about as much as I believe in science. You can't trick me. Liz Biscuits. All right. What is going on here? Hey, Justin Beard. City System is an accessory for the advanced Dungeons & Dragons fantasy role-playing game. It was written by Jeff Grubb and Ed Greenwood and published in 1988 by TSR. It includes extensive and detailed maps of the city of Waterdeep and was intended to serve as a companion to Waterdeep and the North. The sheer expanse of the maps drew praise from Ken Rolston of Dragon Magazine, although he criticized their lack of personality and utility. Why are you... Hey T-Con, what's going on, buddy? Haven't seen you in a while. Did I break something in here in clicking around? Huh, let me reload the scene and see. Though, thank you very much for that. City System is an accessory. I'm pretty sure I can find a PDF of that. Let me take a look. El Kabong! Thank you for the sub. May want to take a look at that tomorrow morning. City System. Cool. Got it. Thanks for that, John. I'm definitely going to take a look at it. T-Con said, been grinding the new Tarkov wipe, hating myself for it. I've been saying for like 2 years now that I want to play some more Tarkov, and I never do. I really should. How's the hand healing? Oh man, it's healing. It's just a matter of time. It's a bummer because typing sucks, but it's coming along. I had my first physical therapy appointment today for my neck because I've got the 2 ruptured discs, and that wound up being good. Thanks, German government, or actually, thanks, German taxpayers, for the really nice massage. I think I get like 6 more of them or something like that. 5 more of them? 5 more. So. And by then, I could probably get ready to move over to physical therapy for my hand, and then eventually physical therapy for whatever is going to happen to my shoulder. So. This year is going to be filled with fun. Nicodemus said, this guy, of course, playing Starfield and BG3. Good stuff, but doesn't scratch out EQ itch. That's interesting. Supposedly, Tarkov Arena is coming out this year. Classic team versus team with respawn, etc. with Tarkov mechanics. Could be perfect for more casual players. I could see that. Though, I mean, honestly, the only thing I did and sort of my fun in playing Tarkov was just, I really like just being a scav and seeing what I could pull off. But at this point, people know the maps so well and know the game so well that I can only imagine that it's just even harder. Bad neck, busted hand, you ain't even 50 yet and the wheels are falling off. In all fairness, this is the first bone I've ever broken in my life. So my entire like teenage years of skateboarding, time in the army, then more years of skateboarding when I got out, all the dumb shit I've ever done. Like, so for this to be the first broken bone, and, you know, I've had a few surgeries, but I think if it winds up being a surgery for my shoulder, then that'll be the first kind of like surgery that's really kind of like a, you know, legit kind of surgery. So, yeah, so overall, I can't complain, man. Like, it's been a decent run without too much damage. Yeah, I'm good, Nicodemus. I snapped off the ring finger knuckle. I'm getting old and brittle. Of all the times of my life, you know, growing up, smashing Monster Energy and kyling out and punching sheetrock, I never injured my hand, so it was about time that I did something stupid and broke it. And it's funny because Jasmine had her first break a few months ago, and it was 3 months ago. Broke her foot, and that was her first broken bone. Let's see. Justin said, plan on having EverQuest logo on my future casket next to McDonald's logo. Man, that's going to be a pretty dope casket. But you're not going to have to worry about that for a while, buddy. Ooh, let me push the mute button. Let me unmute it. Did I get a copy of the x-rays for my hand? Yeah, I've got some printouts. I've got like just a stack of DVDs between my neck, my shoulder, my other shoulder, my hands. Hey, Dayak player. It's funny, am I supposed to say DAOC? I could have sworn somebody at some point on the internet criticized me for saying Dayak instead of... I don't know what I was supposed to say instead, honestly. I've always said Dayak. Is that not it? I'm pretty sure it's Dayak. I mean, I had Jeremiah Smith on. I interviewed Jeremiah Smith, and he worked on Dark Age, and I could have sworn he even says Dayak. And then Star Wars Galaxy has always just been Swig. So if you said Dayak, I'd have no idea what you're talking about. So I'm supposed to say DAOC? September is Eminem's anniversary, right? 3 years now. Yep, you're correct, Nicodemus. 3 years. We're putting some stuff together for an October showcase on the MMORPG Reddit. So we're pulling that together now. And we'll see how much of that can overlap with some of the stuff that we want to do for, last year we did the 2-year retrospective video. Might pull something together here this year. But we'll see. And then the Reddit thing's supposed to be at the end of October. And let's see. And then at some point we're going to revamp the website as well. John says, Sean, when I dislocated my finger playing basketball, I got a copy of the X-ray, put it on a shirt with tape it up underneath for when I went back to playing. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I've only dislocated one finger as well. It was the same finger on this hand. And that was just during jiu-jitsu. I just taped it to the other finger for a while, and it took a while to get like full movement back, but took a little, it's fine. But no, for real, do most people say DAOC? I had no idea. I didn't even know I was being weird, guys. Damn. Had your nose broken on your 17th birthday, you deserved it. I deserved a broken hand as well. It happens, right? Poop happens. He called the shit poop. You guys remind me of old times basketball players. Play through anything. Yeah, Justin. We're strong. We're strong. So what's the plan in the zone today? Probably going to be dropping some more placeholder spawn points just so that they're there. I might pop back to Telekir, because there's a couple spots that still need some spawns, but it's mostly covered. I think now it's just waiting to get some new encounter table built, because I basically just have placeholder warriors of appropriate level, of fighter class mobs throughout the zone. But everywhere there's a spawn point now has at least a placeholder spawn table with the fighters set up of the appropriate level. And then Nick's gonna make some new spawn tables, and then we can update and get the variety in. Earlier today I was just mapping out potential locations for some additional rares and getting kind of a view on how many rares are in the zone. Because when I was first looking at it, I was like, oh, there's all these places where they could be and don't want to have too many. And then as I was going through, I was like, oh, actually, there's not really that many. So that'll be fun. Next time I get a chance to just sit with Nick, we're going to run through the zone and look at the distribution, because we've looked at it on paper, basically. A map similar to the one that I'm going to do here. Because every once in a while it's good to update these maps, because Simon's done a lot more work, and he's almost done with the zone. He's going to do this lake up here in this corner. This is north, right? So there's going to be a lake that feeds the feeds the aqueduct. And what else has he got? I think, was it some goblin camps around here? I'd have to look at his weekly again to kind of see what he was saying there. And then the zone's going to be done, and then we'll be looking at kind of what to sick them on next. Got some ideas there, but yeah. So basically today, while I'm in here, just kind of move some stuff around. We'll still wind up probably adjusting this a couple more times. But move some stuff around and then start dropping some placeholder spawn points, just because once they're in, it's so much easier to kind of look and go, oh, okay, this is where shit's at, and then you can pop over to it. Even doing basically even just going in here and opening up the spawners. Where are they in this hierarchy? They're at the bottom in Telekir. Why am I not seeing them here? Am I just being dumb? Probably. Don't answer that. Hey. Volbistul spawners. No? Nix? Kanix? I mean, I guess I could just type it in here, but... Spawn? No? Interesting. Are they being loaded differently in this zone for some reason? What in the world? Oh, did I miss anything? Okay, I was answering Liz. I missed John's comment. John said that's what I did too, but they never told me to do any exercise with it, so it's permanently bent now. I can make a fist, but can't straighten the finger out. Yeah, I was immediately trying to move it, and it was fine the first day or something, because it was just straight sideways, and I was just like, ah. I'm not gonna lie to you, I saw it and it was sideways and it was so gross looking to me that I just grabbed it and straightened it. I was like, ah. And then it was like, what the? And the guy that I was rolling with was like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, did you see that? He's like, yeah, that's gross. I was like, yeah, it's gross. I was like, let me go get some tape. And taped, and we went back to rolling. And then after class, I was like, and it seemed fine, right? It was super loosey-goosey. And then 2 days later, it was just like a claw. It was like this, and I was like, I really had to force it. I take this thing off every once in a while because it's just a cast on the bottom and it's strapped down. And Jasmine was like, I read that your pinky finger will start to get stiff because it's in here. So you should try to bend it. And that's honestly, the broken knuckle doesn't hurt. Just like light burning or whatever. But trying to curl my pinky now is... is the water to the east a brackish river or more of a coast? River. So yeah, that's one of the things I'm kind of excited about. Just ignore this landmass over here, this placeholder. I don't remember if Pattis put this in or I put it in. Pattis, did I say hi like an hour ago when you came in? 30 minutes ago? Sorry if I didn't say hi. Anyway, so one of us put this in, and I'd really love for rivers to be like, you know, Mississippi style, like rivers to be a damn thing, you know, like we can have some narrower rivers or whatever, but it would be nice for rivers to have some oomph to them. And this may not go in, so, you know, don't worry, it's not meant to be feature creep or anything like that. But if we can find an easy way to get it in, I've mentioned to Ollie for a while now, it'd be really cool if we had water volumes that had some like gameplay attributes to them. So like current and potentially other properties. You guys tell me if you think this is stupid. But and let me finish before you say it's stupid. Let's see. Let's go. Maybe let's do a different screenshot. Okay. Let's do this and just pretend it's a thing. So if we take this, and we go here, and then we do, and we do this so that I don't accidentally overwrite the other image. But so the thing that I've always loved, ever since playing the original like Ultimas, is the idea that what size is this? Okay, maybe a little bit bigger. In the Ultimas, there were two water types. Remember, there's the water that would basically be a stream or along the coast. And you could take little skiffs and stuff like that in it. Remember, like each tile essentially had rules or properties. But then there was like deep water. And remember, you couldn't like you would need an actual ship. And so deep water had different properties than shallow water. And so I guess in theory, I forget which one we're using. This one? Nope. So in theory, we could have water that has different properties. Because they're volumes, we set all these volumes up, right? Like we're the ones putting this in here. When water's jacked up or whatever, we're manually fixing it. There's water volumes in here. So the idea of two different water types or volume types is interesting to me, because we could say, like, if you're a player, which you clearly are, if you hopped into the light blue, you can swim in whatever rules we have associated with swimming is they're in effect, right? And so it could be, you can swim. You can navigate it with like small boats, you know, like little skiffs or rowboats or whatever. And when you're swimming, you know, there's no directional force, there's no current maybe, right? Or there's light current because you're in this volume and you're in the light blue volume. Now, the darker blue volume could actually have a different set of properties. And so it could have a heavier directional value. So it would push you harder. It could spin you. It could potentially damage you. If you try to get into it with a boat, it could affect some attributes of the boat. It could capsize or whatever. You know what I mean? And so it's like it could have a greater impact on your stamina, that type of stuff, right? So there's just this idea of, all right, would it be cool to explore having two different volume types, just because then it gives you the freedom to swim around the edge, or if you fall in, you can swim. It's no big deal. It's not quite as sketchy. That water works similar to like a stream, or maybe you get into an aqueduct, or you're in a dungeon or whatever. But then there's already rules that essentially make it a lot sketchier for you to get into deep water, or whatever we want to call that, like darker water or something. And if you're like, oh, but why? Well, because then it allows us to basically segregate out the value of different things, right? We could have different spells that actually make it so that you're able to traverse this more difficult water in different ways, more easily. Maybe it helps you with stamina, blah blah blah. Or we just always say, well, if you want to traverse this, you need a ship, right? So make something like a bridge crossing difficult water more useful too. Exactly, and that's the idea, right? So talking seagulls, the idea is then it allows us to maintain value on things like ferries, right? Because one of the reasons why I'm excited about there being bigger rivers is the idea that, okay, well, now we build in natural feeling choke points, right? So if you come here, it could be that there's a we've got like a ferry here, or we know that the bridge will actually serve as a bridge and you'll want to go across it. And then if we've got people guarding the bridge, that's good. And if there's a sketchy bridge that you can't cross, they've got see invis and everything else, and you can't get across it. Well, then the little guy over here that's got this dock and there's a ferry, oh man, now there's value, right? Now you just got to pay the person that's operating the ferry, and you got to wait for him to be on the correct side, right? So that way water is not just a binary sort of puzzle, right? Well, and that's why dragons like levitation, right? But that's also why we don't want, we've talked in the past, and when I say there are differing views on the team on some of this stuff. But the idea of abilities not just being binary in nature, like, okay, once you get levitate at whatever level, now you can just levitate your ass all the way across the zone for the next, 2 to 4 minutes or whatever, right? That's so powerful, and it mitigates so much stuff. So MMO Pug, thank you for 9 months. You gotta pay the troll toll. Exactly. Yeah, so anyway, that's a thought. That is a thought. So we'll see. We'll see if we get there. I know Ollie gets jazzed about some of that stuff, so that's always good when the person's got to do the bulk of the programming of it is into it. Scrolling back up. Pirate ship? Oh, first mentioned river pirates. And it's funny, first mentioned river pirates about the same time. Started reading an old, like the first Gary Gygax fantasy book, City of something? I don't know. I got it on my Kindle. And he was talking about getting on like a gypsy barge. But yeah, so we definitely want boats going up and down the rivers and underground rivers in the deep, so that you can you're not just, you know, crossing from one continent to another EQ style. Can we have casino boats, please? I think that's fair. Let's see. I feel like there's been an MMO where I stepped into a river and got carried away a few meters. Might be misremembering, but I thought it would be such a cool touch. Vanguard, maybe? I don't remember that, but maybe. Aggro is that, monsters that only aggro when you are in water over your head. That would be interesting. Dragon says Miko Bites Vanguard had currents initially. I died stuck to a water grate. Oh. And then that's the question too, when you die, does your corpse get pushed down to like the mouth of the river here? Harvelt said flowing water would be cool. Dungeon zone entrance that sucks you in a whirlpool or under a barrier. Yeah. And since we'll be working to have a lot of underground areas as well, again inspired by Ultima, we could have a whirlpool suck you down into the underworld, a la the old Ultima games. Necromancer passage vessels to Hades. Necromancer takes you across the river Styx. Yeah, I'm starting to think we should just... Oops. From position, save. From position, save. How are you going to handle overweight players and swimming? We've joked about a number of ideas there. We'll have to see where we land 100%, but we've joked about some sinkage going on there. Yeah, you joke, John, but it's funny because if corpses did wash down river, I could definitely imagine there being I could imagine my cleric when I don't have anything else to do just hanging out sort of around here. at the edge of the river. Would someone with a decent fishing skill catch a corpse? Hmm. They just get one random item off your corpse. Trade skilled shoulder item, air bladders from jackal hides. That'd be interesting. Let me see where we're at with the number. Where are we at in terms of spawn number in the zone? Excuse me, I could not push the button fast enough and I just scared the crap out of my dog, so you're not the only ones. Thank you. I appreciate that, Talent. Dragon, we've discussed things like making just playing around a lot more with like levitate duration. So and then make it. Could look at it's interesting, levitate self versus levitate others, levitate group. This says one of my dogs used to like sneezing in my face. Funny, when I did it back they always look really offended. So I've determined in the last two dogs I've determined that they sneeze a lot to basically say F you. Right? Because my dog will look at me when he's clearly like unhappy with a decision I've made or whatever. My dog will look at me and go and like do this kind of head twisty sneeze like and just keep staring at me. And it's kind of like phew. And so when Jasmine and I noticed that, we're like, I think he's pissed. So I started sneezing back like and when I did it, both dogs now have looked at me like, what? How dare you say that to me? I can say that to you, but you can't say that to me. I'm like, oh no. If you're going to curse at me, I'm going to curse back at you. Your dog sneezes for playtime? Like they want to play? Or they sneeze for fun? Yeah, that's our word. You don't get that. Exactly, Mr. Stabby. You get the head turn that dogs do? Yeah, it's like, excuse me? What? To signal he's ready for playtime, he gets so happy he has an allergy attack. I don't know. I think he's just cursing. I don't mean to break it. I don't want to. Yeah, it's playtime, but not fast enough, Jasmine said. Hurry up. Hurry up, Miko Bites. True, exactly, yeah. Fluff you, mother fluffer. Hey, Swanee. Yep. I ain't got time to wait on you. It's playtime, fool. Alright. So, let's see. Everything got saved. Well, honestly, to get in some of these nooks and crannies and stuff, we'll just have to add some more volumes. We'll probably do some... where'd be a good place? Maybe some... I was trying to think. Do we do some, like, crocodiles somewhere around here? Some more trees. Do some crocs in here. Let me go ahead and just go ahead and say go ahead one more time. Let me go ahead and start stubbing in a few placeholder spawns. Starting with, where are we at? Starting with like 50. Well, let me make a placeholder too. NPCs, SGS. Yeah, okay, I see what I did there. Alright. Alright, so we'll do SGS and we'll make a placeholder. Harvelt, thank you for the prime. Appreciate the sub. You're new here, aren't you? Twitch was telling me you were new. Justin said he used to hide his frog lock in streams and lakes during PvP. Master tactician. Watching YouTube videos for months, first time live. Oh, badass. It's cool. That reminds me. I will have to get these two uploaded this weekend. But looks like there's some new videos up from the rest of the team. So definitely check those out. If you haven't been to the YouTube lately, please go take a look. What was I doing? Oh, I was making a new NPC. Find a human placeholder. Schweddy said finish VG3, my Eminem itch is back. So I'm assuming you just did the main storyline, because you didn't play the entire game, right? John, that's pretty awesome. I'll just use this guy. I'll adjust his duplicate row with keys, rename it SGS placeholder. Placeholder. There we go. What level? Make it not so high so if anybody stumbles across them, they don't just get wrecked. Though they shouldn't. I mean, faction-wise, they should be fine. Do like level 10. 15. Probably a better way to do this, but it's what's on the mind at the moment. Copy. Make a new spawn group. Insert. Tab. Boom. Let's see. Shweddy said 4 playthroughs is enough for me for now. How many hours did you spend on each playthrough? 15? 20? Trooper said, I'm at like 90 hours and still on Act 2. Dang. Are you just being thorough or? Create spawn it, click. Boom. 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 And we'll do one more. Cool. Gotta open every barrel. Nice. Liz said, I saw something the other day about them claiming the BG3 companions weren't all supposed to be trying to hook up with you. Is there some concern or what's the deal there? Bedroom, eventually. Probably. Yeah. Then here. Yeah. Kitchen, dining room, storage room. So 1, 2, 3. So 4 to 6. When we come back in here, we'll give these we'll give them some day-night behaviors. Save. Liz said the BG3 companions are rather keen to sleep with you and are very flexible in their mindsets. Apparently it wasn't supposed to take 2 minutes to get an offer. Oh. Whatever floats people's boats. It's weird, like for some reason rolling up on these two buildings in the desert, if it weren't for the trees, it made me think that I would find like, was it Uncle Owen? What was Luke's family that he came back to and they were incinerated? Schweddy said, probably my main playthrough is definitely 60. Not saying I was all that thorough. Basically went for the legendaries, 2 playthroughs with friends. So I guess I can say I did 4 when they kept going on theirs. 240 hours log post launch. Dang. Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. Look at you. You guys know everything. Looks like a bunny statue under the sand. Or the what is it, the nuclear reactors outside of San Diego? Why are you laughing about those reactors, Fielder? Because the joke that they look like a giant bra. Is that why you're laughing? How dare you? That's not the kind of stream that we run. Nils, what's up? If you were to implement current in the rivers, etc., would you put in Spirit of Trout to let you ignore it? Yeah, well, that's the kind of thing that we could do, right? Spirit of Trout would be it'd be a pretty high level, pretty intense spell, though. Yeah, driven by them many times, and that's always the thought. Yeah. It reminds me also of, like, there's a parachute error type that you can get. In airborne school, they called the error I think they call it like a Dolly Madison. It's when your risers are wrapped around the chute, so it just makes two. It basically makes your parachute look like this. Yeah, those of you that haven't seen the reactors, the Google search there. Here, we'll show you. When you're driving along the highway and you look over, it's silly. There's a giant peach. It's so random. There's a giant peach when you're driving through Georgia. Georgia giant peach. Oh man. Georgia and the Giant Peach. Yes, that is the movie. Careful, those results could be sketchy. I think I got safe search on just for you guys. Is south of the border still in South Carolina? South of the border, South Carolina. Well, that doesn't look good. I still think Dolly Madison is still in Columbus, Georgia. Funny there's a term for airborne about it. Well, I mean, I went to airborne school in Fort Benning, Georgia. What's that right next to? Is that next to Columbus? I just know that Victory Drive was right outside of base. And I have to admit, I never went there. I basically went to basic and AIT together, OSIT, one-stop unit training. Graduated the day I graduated. My parents came up because we only lived like an hour and a half from there. Came up, hung out with me, drove me over to airborne school. I registered for airborne school. Did I don't even know that I got the weekend off. I think I got my room assignment and then just hung out there and started airborne school and then went home for like the weekend after airborne school and then went straight to my unit. They call it Fort Moore nowadays. I will always call it Fort Benning. Sorry that the Civil War made some people sad, but you know what? Military people of my generation, I think, and older are probably okay remembering all of our old base names. I grew up at Fort Campbell. I've trained at a number of other bases and they will always be called that. Fort Hood will be Fort Hood. You still play paintball where, Swanee? South of the border? My 3-month-old was crying. I asked him if it would make him happy if I ate a gummy candy. He kept crying. He's got his face in a boob. 3-month-old. I thought he said 3-year-old, and I was like, Make the bad man fly. Oh, it looked like a fun place to play paintball. Yeah. There were a couple MALP training areas when I was in. Because the unit I was in is primarily ceremonial, but it also provides QRF in the DC area. So we got to do a lot of cool like military operations and urban terrain style training. Back in the day, this was 94 through 97, and some of the little mock-up cities that we would train in would be a blast for paintball. We were just using miles gears and stuff like that, so that was pretty cool though. It's pretty cool. We did a lot of interesting training. Like it would be a mix of support for we'd have MPs doing riot duty, and we'd have actors and stuff out there being rioters and cars driving around. And I don't know if I've told the story, but we were training once, and like they would have actors in the cars and stuff. So one time they had people playing cards on the stoops and people protesting and MPs handling that stuff, and we were just there to support, and then boom, drive by, and they're firing off blanks and stuff, of course. But it was pretty wild, like reacting to that contact and running around in the city and stuff. Pretty good training. I don't know how much of that stuff I'm even supposed to mention. Anyways, it was a long time ago. 3-year-old recently got interested in Minecraft. That's badass. It's like digital Legos, right? So it makes perfect sense. Knew an actor who is full-time training peeps at Fort Benning named Redbeard. Ever meet him? Though I briefly attempted college a couple times. Mind pausing stream, needs to walk the dog for a bit. I honestly, if I could take a little 10-minute break and hit the restroom, that'd be awesome. But unfortunately, I don't think I can hit pause. So I had this teacher. He was kind of one of those like older professors that flirted with the young students. Kind of. He was I think he was a history teacher. Then covered like early history, so essentially the kind of Assyrian, blah 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 blah, all that stuff over in the origins of the Middle East. Anyways, so I had him at Troy State University, and I gotta admit, I was just super slacker. I mostly just drank and played Populous a lot and didn't go to class, but I went to a few of his classes before I quit. Anyway, I see the guy at Fort Benning when I'm I think while I was just kind of chilling out at airborne school, and I saw the guy walking around with essentially some like OGA looking, what part of the government do you work for kind of dudes near like the PX or something on Benning. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe as a consultant for regional activities over there or something. But yeah. Not a story that you might care about, but I just remembered that. Yeah, Populous was so good. I was so enamored with some Populous. How far is this? And this is a ways to trek for some crocodiles. But it won't hurt to put like a little bit over here, and we can always up their level or whatever. Appreciate the story since it's in your neighborhood. Yeah, and it's forever ago. So we've got plenty of crocodiles roaming over in Shaded Dunes. So it might be played out or whatever, but I'll come back here when I'm working with volumes, I guess. Or actually, you know what? Yeah, I'll do that. I'll come back. Hey, Dark Inside. Good afternoon, people. Did you all see the little bit of Pantheon to a complete art overhaul, looking like wow? Are you guys art style? Yeah, I saw a little bit on that. I don't know if I mentioned last week. I might have. I had a great talk with Joppa recently. We chatted for like, depending on how slammed he is, we used to chat couple times a year. This was the first time we chatted, so I had like a really nice, like, when we talk, it winds up being like 3 hours or so. So talked a bit about that and sort of some of the thinking behind it and all of that, and I can see what they're doing, and yeah. Saw some of the, I think tons of people had opinions about the previous art style, so them attempting to basically get it more in line with what they would really want, it makes sense. So definitely I wish them all the best with it. Our styles are always going to differ, our games are always going to differ, so very concerned because making a massive change like this in a stage of development they're currently in is risky, isn't it? I don't know if it's... Yeah, I mean, it's risky because you've already got sort of preformed player perception. That said, if their general take was like that folks were kind of like meh about the original style, then it's not risky, right? Then it's an improvement. Yeah, and as Trooper was saying, it sounds like it's partly speed up development while also making it more appealing. Yeah, I mean, essentially that's a nice concise summary. So makes sense. Are people going to be unhappy? Sure. Some people are always going to be unhappy about stuff. They've got a lot of challenge just, with perception. Anything they do that's not just very specifically get the game done is going to be something that people are going to poke at or whatever, but I think the thing that I always say if I'm, talking about it with Jasmine, or if I'm talking to the team, or, hell, talking to Chris about it, it's at the end of the day, we all have to make games that are fun. And so I think, if an MMO team only takes 2 years to make an MMO, if an MMO team takes 15 years to make an MMO, or 7 years, or whatever it is, if they make decisions along the way that piss people off, if they, start at A but end up at G or H or whatever, and people were only expecting C, whatever stupid analogy I can make, all that matters is when the game comes out, is it enjoyable? Do enough people enjoy it to validate your business model? Or business plan. And then if not, are you capable of making adjustments that allow people to then enjoy it, right? Like, is it Final Fantasy 14 the first launch? And are you capable of doing the relaunch? Is it No Man's Sky when it first comes out and people are like, what is this? Oh, bait and switch. Oh, worst game ever. How dare you? Everybody attack Sean Murphy. That's his name, right? And then, you know, what is it, like 7 years later? It's still considered one of the best space games out there. And every time I see it, I'm like, oh, I want to play it. I wish I'd played it more when I first played it, right? So, yeah. At the end of the day, we all just need to make games and have enough people like said game. I mean, think about it. Think about how many people have come through here. So I've got 4,649 followers, right? On a given night, I'll have whatever, something like 70, 80, 100 people, depending, but let's just say 70 people in here hanging out. So 70 out of 4,650 roughly. Most people, I would say you could shave off, I don't know, let's be generous and shave off 1,650 as people that just came for the EQ interviews. Fair enough. All right, so people that are here for Eminem, right? And if we did that, I'd put it at about 3,000 followers, which we've got about 3,000 people on the mailing list. I forget, I'd have to look, maybe 3,500 or maybe 3,000, I forget. Our YouTube is sitting at like 2,600, which just means a lot of you slackers just haven't hit the subscribe button. All right, so say we have about 3,000 people that are actively following Eminem. Let's just assume that. We've got more uniques on the website, sure, but uniques are always kind of hard with modern browsers and stuff to kind of determine, is it real, is it not real, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, if we go for 3,000, let's assume when those 3,000 people first come in and, you know, hang out in the stream or whatever and watch it, you know, when they first find out about the game, it's like, oh my God, I can't wait for this game. Been waiting for this forever. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be everything I ever wanted. Then they watch a few streams and hear me ramble about shit and they're like, I don't know, my level of confidence may be not super high now after hearing this guy talk some shit. So you churn some people there. Over time, the people that are like John, who is like, and I want to pick on him if he's still walking his dog. Like, oh, we need a full map of Night Harbor. I'm like, no, I don't think so. Well, at some point, that person churns, right? And over time, you know, the longer it goes on, people are like, man, back when you guys just had little capsule men and you're cranking out placeholder zone art like a mile a minute. Pretty amped, but dude, you're coming up on your 3rd anniversary. Why is the game not done, right? Like, over time, we'll run into the same sort of shit, right? Like, I think we've got it easier than a project like Pantheon, just because we have a different starting point, a different history, right? Like, and so, you know, but over time, we're going to get a lot of the same sort of like naysaying and blah, blah, blah. I mean, we've already started with, you know, people going, oh, what is this? It looks like vaporware or whatever, you know, like every game's got to deal with this shit. Every game. So, and then every game just has to be good enough and capable of being dedicated enough to grind through to continue to improve the game. Darker said I prefer the original art style, but can understand where they want to have the game age well, not like EQ2. Though I would say EQ1's original art style would have, if we had just not messed with that and leaned into it, would have aged better. Not opposed to new art, just need more info and a better look at in-game before I can judge. Yeah, give them time. Liz says, I think there's a tendency for game devs to want flashy, new, sparkly graphics, but those games get played say 3-4 days till one runs, till one run through and then get put down. Games which have many levels and breadth of subject, actually the graphics don't need to be all fancy, but they do need to be good enough. They're still, especially when they're new. I think at least. I don't know. I could be full of shit on that one. I'm just kind of plopping these here. They'll be moved later. Water vegetation to break up the shallows. Full with possible hidden dangers. Yes, we were just talking about that. We were literally Goblin, Monty. We're talking about some ideas for vegetation. Save. You know what? Probably a fifth guy around here, because we're going to want some folks kind of going out and about here. So... think about how much fun we all have with the grid texture placeholder models. We didn't care. That's what matters. Don't care if the graphics don't have to be out of this world. Yes and no. I agree, and it is fun. And don't get me wrong. I like the way our game looks, and when we look at some of this stuff, I know some stuff you guys don't know yet, and I haven't blabbed yet. So what I can say is some of what we're seeing with the textures is going to look a bit different. Same art style, but some fun additional capabilities, and we'll be showing that. We'll be showing that soon. I said I might blab this stream, last stream, but I'm not going to. We'll save it for this month's stuff. We'll put some stuff together. I don't, unless Pattis spills the beans, like shows some stuff or whatever, but I didn't. I forgot to ask Robert, but I know that the thing that Robert posted was essentially an early entry, or sorry, an early sort of sample of the song he was working on. Miko Byte said, tall grass and dense thickets would be fun to navigate. Pulling through a cornfield marshland type area would be red. So it's funny, we were looking at that, and I mentioned that, you know, my belief, I don't know that it's right, but my belief is that like having all of the sort of just kind of grass all over everything, like if we were in a temperate area, having this just like covered in the, you know, the 3D grass, I don't know that that's our style. I'd rather just have the texture on here, but with like some features. But then we were looking at like which one was it? Was it Majora's Mask or we were looking at Goblin posted like some of the old school Zelda tall grass where it was just like a cube, and then you entered a cube. And we can do this thing if you look in Telekir, or if we go in this cave. Here, I'll show you real quick. You know, we're doing light volumes. Squiggly lines, thank you for 21 months. So if I come into, like if I go into this cave, see how it gets darker? So anyways, it's like I was joking about what if we did volumes, and so if you go into this, essentially this like kind of big, I wish it was easier to draw on the screen. Let's just do it this way. So imagine you have oh, that's not really good. So we'd have like some if we wanted to do tall grass, it would just be kind of like a model almost. And naturally there could be some tufts kind of coming up to it or whatever. But then when you go into the tall grass, you actually go into it. And then when you go in, the lighting changes. And so it would be very much a volume. So like if you're a gnome or a dwarf or a halfling and you go in, and I was joking about we could also do like an effects within the volume. So it's just, it's darker, and maybe it's kind of like the parting of, you know, like corns getting pushed out of the way, or there's just something kind of obstructing your vision, like leaves. And you're in there and it gets darker and it's all leafy and shit. But if you're a ogre and you're just walking through, you're just looking above it, and it's just kind of like this, it's kind of like this box that, right, it's just kind of like, So, yeah, so it'd basically be a volume. But I don't know. I could be wrong, but it just seems like it'd be, rather than have like kind of like Breath of the Wild or whatever, where everything's just kind of covered in grass. I don't know. Just keep things still relatively flat and negative space and all of that. Oh, we could do it for deep snow as well. Like you can go in as boom, you're in a deep snow volume. Mainly to screw with short races. That's the whole reason for it. Concealment bonus for short races? Maybe. Lower their aggro radius. Alright, so got some placeholders here. Could see ogres accidentally training stuff in the cornfield, not knowing they're stepping on a nest. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Maybe deactivate NPC names if they're small, so it doesn't give them away. And this is the, I think this is, yeah, this is the rich evil farmers area. Of the three, I think this one's the one that looks most like it. Though he does lord over these others. I think it's this one, not the other one. Cast shrink and crawl around in the snow, sand to hide. Right? Like 5 there. Well, oh, maybe, no, this one kind of feels like it's the one. Yep. Yep, it's the one. Farmer Monsanto. What would be an anagram? Santamon. Do some EQ style naming. Rancher Milliken. What is the... I know it's a reference to something. that's just decorative. All right. Yeah. Look at you, Nicodemus. Farmer H. Lecter. Be hanging out with these guys up here. They're sketchy. Luna put in some camp of some pretty sketchy folks. This guy's gonna have his farmhouse is kind of set up like a cartel compound. Oops. This guy was in the carpet industry as a teenager before the mills left to go overseas. Oh, interesting. Be cool to chat with you one day about that. One of my favorite companies. I need to order some boots from them and some pants eventually. I've got the feeling shipping's going to be kind of a beast, but it's a company called Origin. They started with jujitsu gis and then started doing blue jeans, and now they do boots and hunting gear and all sorts of stuff. The dude Jocko Willink, former Navy SEAL / jujitsu guy / podcaster. He's one of the owners. But they basically dusted off an old factory, and where were they? North Carolina? I know they've got a new factory in Maine as well. But basically they dusted off an old factory and gathered up some of the old machinery and restored it, and then started making jujitsu gis, the pajamas. And then from there started making blue jeans and stuff, and it's really cool. It's nice to see industry back in, like small business style industry popping up in different places. Big fan of that. What's going on, YouTube? Why is the music being so quiet? Doesn't seem overly quiet there? Good. As long as y'all can hear it. I've got to turn down so much on my end. So I can think. Yeah, Nicodemus, I could definitely, I can definitely imagine it's better work. What you're doing now is, better work, but without us veering off into the, you know, the unacceptable politics or other topics here, I will say that it'd be cool if the opportunities did exist for someone though, right? Like, oops. We'll eventually use this go to, but for now we'll just have it be a go home. That's it. When we use this later. Position. Not as fun as creating games though. Your current work. If you have to work to make ends meet, it's important to do what you enjoy. Yeah. Then again, if you're making ends meet, sometimes it's just important to be able to make the ends meet. I've definitely been there. When I had the skate park, we really didn't pay ourselves. It was a family business. It was a family and a friend of mine. My family and a friend of mine. And so my parents were super supportive. I was in my early 20s. Early 20s. Got out of the army, opened a skate park. So a lot of meals like brought to the skate park. My mom and dad would bring meals. My dad worked a ton at the skate park. Kids loved him. Fat Matt. So a lot of eating at my parents' house. A lot of not having cash. And so in order to kind of make ends meet and try to keep the money in the business, wound up working random day jobs. Different jobs I had during the couple of years that we had the skate park. I got a construction contract, finishing work. Just did that until the contract was up. I enjoyed it. It's kind of a pain in the ass because it was a office building on Fort Rucker. And it was like, this door has a ding in it. So we'd have to strip the entire door down by hand. Get it stripped even, and then stain it and everything. And then the inspector would come back through. And we were doing that for everything. Little paint chip near a light fixture, replace a carpet tile, right? It's this big ass office building and just big list. But it was kind of cool because I'd wake up at like 4 a.m. or whatever. Coffee, grab a thermos full of coffee, hop in a truck with this couple, lady and man who had the contract, and I was just helping them, and go up and it was a lot of just kind of like alone time, working on, going through a checklist and fixing things or painting things or restaining doors, and it'd be like 15 doors or whatever. So I kind of dug that. But, waking up super early, 40-minute drive up to Fort Rucker, blah, blah, blah. When the contract was up, I was like, all right, I'm good not doing this anymore. Then worked at the art museum for a decent while as the maintenance man. So I basically cleaned everything and fixed things as things broke, and then eventually became also the person doing their desktop publishing. It was like, because I knew how to use a computer, and the woman they hired to use the computer didn't. And so wound up doing that until I asked for a raise. I was like, could I get like $8 an hour? Because the lady that you hired for $12 an hour has me do her work. And I got yelled at for asking for a raise, so I quit. Went to a sign shop. One of the kids at the skate park's mom worked at a sign shop. So I made a shitload of giant, Home Depot banners. And got harassed by his mom and her coworker for a while. And then was like, oh, right, this is no fun. Is there a better job out there? And then got a really cool job basically at a pet website. Because remember, this is like 99, and everybody's making a website. So I got a really decent job working for this like 18-year-old kid who was super, super fun, who ran the Jeffers pet and equine supply website. And my whole gig was I'd come to work and Photoshop, basically delete the backgrounds out of images to make the images ready to be posted on the website. And that's all I did all day, was sit there and talk shit with this dude. And it was great because he's a good, like, big old, good old boy, right? Making a grip of cash there. And so we'd go out for lunch like every day, go to Wings and Things. I ate so many chicken wings during that period. It was so awesome. He's like, man, I'll buy you lunch, because he was just getting paid out the ass. And I was making good money there as well. So that was a really good gig, and I did that all the way up until like I left to go join Variant/SOE. So the only reason why I went through the list, Nicodemus, is because you're talking about making ends meet, and that reminded me of making ends meet then. Dude, being a handyman / janitor at the art museum was kind of gross, man. People are nasty. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 6. How'd I get from there to Variant? That's quite the jump. So I bought EQ right after it came out. I was playing a lot of Quake and like little ladder matches and stuff on heat.net. And one of the guys that my ping was super bad all the time. So one of the guys I was in a match with like was up 50 points or some shit. And so we were just typing in the console, and I asked him if there were any like multiplayer fantasy games like Dungeons and Dragons, and he mentioned EverQuest. So I went to the store that evening, bought EverQuest, installed it, immediately had my mind completely blown, and decided on the spot that I had to, no matter what happened in life, I had to join the company that makes the game. Oops. Where is... Okay. I had to join the company. So I started reading up immediately on the guide program, the volunteer customer service program, and did that straight out of the gate. Got accepted to the guide program and was guiding about as much as I was playing, and used that to like social engineer my way into meeting, like building a good relationship with my GM. And then at some point, basically my plan behind the scenes was just like, the skate park was basically just a money pit. It was like $5 a day daycare for parents that couldn't give a shit less about what their kids were doing. And so we were losing money nonstop. And so I was like, all right, let's liquidate the skate park, and I'm going to pack all of my shit into a U-Haul, and I'm going to move to California, and I'm going to join this company. So at some point when we were at a point where I was able to take out like a $800 loan or something, $500 or $800 loan to get to California, me and my girlfriend. We packed our shit into a U-Haul. I had friends in San Diego in the skateboard industry. So I told them, hey, we're going to be out there in a few days, you know, probably in advance, like a few weeks. And then was just like, all right, we're going to be out there. Got out there, parked the U-Haul at, I don't know if you guys know skateboarding. One of the guys I grew up with in Alabama is a skateboarder named Jamie Thomas, and parked the U-Haul at his house in like Vista or wherever it was. Spent the night at his house, and then moved it to my other friend Chad's apartment, and spent the next day looking for apartments around where my friend Chad lived in North Park. Found an apartment that was like nothing down, $500 a month cash, no questions asked. Hey, Chad the alpha male, different Chad. unless you're Chad. And got an apartment like that day, and unloaded the U-Haul, and then unloaded the U-Haul, and on day 2 went to my friend's apartment, installed ICQ, hit up Dave Nevela, who is my GM, said, "Hey Dave, I'm in California, I'm in San Diego, are there any GM jobs available?" And he was like, "WTF, you actually did it?" I'm like, "Yep, I'm here now." And he's like, "Let me ask Michelle Butler." And so he was like, "Yeah, Michelle said come up tomorrow and we'll interview you, I guess, for customer service." And so I drove up to Verint on day 3, interviewed with Michelle Butler, and basically within 3 days I landed in California. I'd never been like west of the Mississippi. Landed in California, got an apartment, got a job at SOE, and yeah, that's how I got into the game industry. Hey, John. Dude, it was not uncommon. Like, people were making the pilgrimage back in the day. $800 on a leap of faith. Absolutely. Yeah, El Kabong. Jamie Thomas. Little humble brag. I actually, I helped record and edit Jamie's first Sponsor Me video when we were in high school together. He went to Northview, the rich kid high school on the north side of town, because he's a rich kid. And I went to Dothan High School, which was on the south side of town, which was, I think, probably a more fun high school. And we are all white trash and hood kids and everything. So, but we met in electronics class, Mr. Ananopoulos' electronics class at the Dothan Vocational Center. That's where I met Jamie. Yeah, he made fun of my clothes and stuff because I was more heavy metal than skateboarding at the time. Matter of fact, one of the first times I went over to his house, him and his girlfriend spent the first like 15 minutes just making fun of my clothes because I had like tight ass ripped up jeans with like heavy metal drawings and shit on them, and like an Iron Maiden t-shirt, like 3/4 sleeve. And he's like, "Man, you got to get baggy pants." Well, so he gave me like, when we went to his laundry room, and he just gave me a big pile of like clothes. He made fun of everything I was wearing, my underwear, everything. Right? I was wearing like whitey tighties and shit, and he was like, "You got to wear boxers, man. All the cool guys are wearing boxers." So he gave me like a stack of boxers and jeans and shit, and was like, "Here, change your gear." So that kind of kicked off that phase of my life. Yeah, he got me cool. He got me cool after making fun of my Iron Maiden t-shirt. He then has Iron Maiden in his video part later on, and he's like, Mr. Classic Rock, Jamie. Yeah, true, exactly. All caps true, exactly. He stole my shit. Jamie Thomas would be nothing without me. Someone clip that and send it to him. Do I talk to him still? Nah. When I lived in California, I talked to him a bit. Whenever I'd go hang out with my friend Chad. Chad and I were close, and Chad was basically like helped him run Black Box. The distribution company that they built to like do Fallen and Zero and Slave and all that stuff. But like when I lived in California, the whole time I worked at Sony, I wore nothing but Zero and Fallen gear, just because every couple of weeks or month or season I'd go up to the Black Box warehouse, and just like Chad would be like fill 2 shopping carts with everything, like one of everything, every new shoe they had, every new jeans, all that shit. So no, actually we got rid of it. Yeah, unfortunately. I was thinking back because all of my old Sony shirts and all like EQ shirts and stuff were in the t-shirt boxes. Yeah, we chucked all of that last time we were there. I did. I never had a single friend where I knew what underwear they wore. Then you were not a skateboarder, John. Skateboarders are such fashionistas. But yeah, no, Jamie did really well for himself. Jamie was very good about taking care of Jamie. That's why we didn't necessarily stay in touch. No, Chad is not Muska. Chad is a dude named Chad Foreman. Was never pro, but really good. Really good at... he was always a really good skateboarder, but wound up just running the companies, not being a pro. Fascist? Yeah. Dude, skateboarders are funny. I can say that. Because I think I officially still have some credibility as a skateboarder, even if I was never very great. But man, talk about, they're so trendy. Skateboarders are both great at establishing trends. I was always jealous when I worked in the games industry, because I always felt like if we could take and make gaming as cool as skateboarding, because at the time it was like skateboarding's super cool and sets all the trends, and gaming was like nothing back when I first got in the industry, and now gaming's kind of like skateboarding was, right? Like there's a lot of coolness associated with gaming, I think. And so it's really come up, but like skateboarding's all about branding, right? Like skateboarding is just branding, and they're so good at doing branding and seasonal branding, right? Because you need to get a new deck or even wheels. Even if you don't need new wheels, you're going to get new wheels the next season when like, oh, the new Spitfires just dropped. They're same millimeter, same hardness, but it's got a new graphic, or it's got a new color, or it's that new Pro that you love. It's got a new Pro wheel out. So, like, they're really good at just selling you more and more shit. And honestly, when we get our merch shop up, the reason why we're like, we don't want microtransactions in game, but we do want to sell like a ton of shit on a merch side of things over time, is just because it's really cool to have like all of that tangible stuff and have it be a cool lifestyle thing, especially if you love the brand, right? So I think, establishing cool brands and really working with them over time, especially with tangible goods and soft goods and all that stuff, it's something I've always wanted to do with a gaming company. And I think as Blizzard, became more mainstream with WoW, they did a little bit better job of that, but yeah, it's something that, it's just been a focus of mine for a long time because, again, coming from skateboarding. Full House says, as a former skater, skaters and punks are fashion divas. Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. Just hanging out with the skateboard folks over the years, it was always funny because if there's like a new term, right? Like before everybody said, "Oh, he's killing it," or "Oh, as soon as one of the cool guys, if it was Jamie or Chad or somebody's like, "Oh man, he's killing it," you would hear every one of the younger guys working at the warehouse or all the skaters that hang out with the other skaters be, "Yeah, dog, yeah, he's killing it," right? Like everybody's killing it now. Oh, he's crushing it. Oh, and it's just like, it was just funny because they're such lemmings. But it's all about individuality, right? Dude, I'm such an individual. What's Jamie listening to now? Oh, Credence. Oh man, yeah, I got the new Credence. Exactly, 100%. I'm not bullshitting. I may say dumb stuff, but I tend not to bullshit. It's too hard to keep up if I just make shit up. This place has actually got a lot of space in here. We're gonna have some sketchy river pirates coming and hanging out at this tavern. It's a brewery and tavern and inn. So this is gonna be fun. So we'll get a multitude of spawners here. Okay, just if you signal me before you do it, then I can always mute or whatever. You're going to do it now? Jasmine's going to be digging in the freezer. Hold on, let me mute. Man, she went hard into the freezer. Reasonable person said, seems that all things that drive culture end up making money before it gets cycled out for the new thing until it comes back around. Games industry is in the middle of that now, I think. Expand on that, reasonable person. Why do you think so? I'm not saying that I disagree. I'd just be curious to see what you're seeing. Just 4 or 5. What do we got? 3, 5, 10. Too hard to keep up if I make shit up. He says as he works on a fantasy MMO that he's made up. Well, in all fairness, I didn't make up all of it. And also, that's what we've got a Confluence for. We've got a wiki, otherwise. My thought, though, is on the stuff that we make up for the game, making up fantasy stuff, it's easy to keep track of because once it's made up, it's real. It's a real thing. It's not a lie. But lying about stuff, lies just make me really uncomfortable. Or am I lying? Lies make me really uncomfortable. That's why I get super awkward about certain shit. Because it's like, something come up and I don't want to, maybe it's inappropriate for me to say at the time, or, or someone's like, it's kind of like the equivalent of like the question, do you think my ass is fat? Well, like, don't ask me that question if you got a fat ass. You know what I mean? And I mean that in all kindness. I don't have anything against fat asses, and I don't know if it's unprofessional for me to use this as an example, but it's like, I mean, and I'll try to be polite. I'll be like, it's thick. Nothing wrong with that. But that's an example I could have used 10 years ago, but now I've got to be concerned about. But hey. Reasonable person said, just that money seems to follow culture trends, and then that usually ends up ruining it. Until it falls out of favor for the new thing to chase, kind of like fashion trends that cycle around every 20, 30 years. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's just, people, and I think that's a byproduct of, it's like, it makes sense because if people want something, you want to be able to provide it, you want to make cash, and then the more people see something, they're like, oh, I'm no longer unique, or that's played out, or it's not authentic anymore. So, I need something new. I'm easy, like, I will always wear the same black H&M shirts, and one of my 3 or 4 bottoms that I wear, I'm currently wearing camouflage camping shorts because they're very light and comfortable, but usually like jeans. And then I don't have to worry about it. And then my style will be in fashion one year and out of fashion another year and back in fashion. And a lot of double beds in here. Yeah. And it's kind of weird because I've been doing it so long now. Is this an Airbnb? This is a real hotel, son. I've been doing it so long now that it's even hard for me to like want to. And I love the Monsters and Memories merch samples that we got together, but I just don't like to wear. I want it to look as plain as possible, I guess. Carhartt single color t-shirts here. I have no real style. The older I get, the simpler I like to look. Yeah, same here, man. Though Carhartt's pretty fancy in Germany. All the fancy punk kids and stuff rock the Carhartt here. I don't know if that's the thing in the US, but in Germany they they pay top dollar or euro or euro or however you're supposed to pronounce it, euro, for Carhartts. Reasonable person says, I don't even work in the healthcare field anymore, and if I could get away with wearing scrubs all the time, I would. So comfortable. I have to ask Jasmine. My wife's a dental surgeon. When sometimes she's like, she'll put on an outfit to go to work, and we live, I don't know, 500 meters from the clinic. And she's like, I'm just going to take this off in like 4 minutes. Jasmine, are your work scrubs, are they comfortable? Pretty comfortable?
Yeah, only gets probably top.
Cool. Yep, the reasonable person in chat was saying that they're comfortable. Not super flattering. Yeah. Who are you trying to impress? Let's see. How many zones is Eminem considering at release? Honestly, we don't know. Hopefully enough. Hopefully enough variety. There's some cool stuff going on behind the scenes that may help us on the variety front. Oh my god, it's cool. Can't wait to show it off. So a couple, I would say at least a few different biomes. The number of zones in a given biome or region, we don't know yet, but we're just kind of plowing ahead and learning on every zone that we work on. The challenge for us is everybody is currently just pitching in and in their spare time, right? So it's hard for us to get true metrics on how long it takes to like slam through a zone. And then what we also keep doing is like, look at this zone. Instead of just making like a, displacement map and plopping a couple existing buildings on stuff, Pattis and Simon are just, I love these guys because if you ask for a thing, it's just like, we need a cave. All of a sudden, there's like a cave network, right? Like there's such content density in our zones that we're going to be working on. We're going to be working on just getting more of the content in faster. But on the art side, like these zones are pretty dense. I mean, there's stuff, maybe I shouldn't show it off, but let's just assume there's a full POI over there as well. Got the quarries here. We've got the mercenary compound up here. Got the entrance into Telekir from the east through the Goblin area up here as well. You've got the way all the way up, like into where the lake is, essentially the giant glacial lake reservoir, and so this is getting built out, right? And then it feeds into the aqueducts that go into the city. So, it's kind of hard to define when we say like what is a zone count, right? Like a zone isn't a zone is a zone. You know what I mean? So Jasmine said I'm talking nonsense, but you know what I mean, right? Like it'd be one thing, because the original idea was, hey, we're just going to do kind of a basic displacement map, throw a few prompts on it, and who knows, we may have some zones that feel like that, right? Like it could be that content density in glass flats when you get over here is a lot more sparse. And so, it may be faster for us to produce, but it will, have an entrance to a few additional dungeons. So, question about, will there be more varied textures for the mountain rocks? Oh, yes. That is part of what I'm alluding to. So, we've got Monty on the team now. You'll see him in here every once in a while. Monty's got an environment background, and he's a very good technical artist. So we are doing some interesting things. Monty and Ali and environment guys are cooking up something that will help us on the texture front and do some interesting stuff with textures and get more reuse out of textures. And there are some examples I could show you right now, but I can't. I could, but I won't. So it's pretty exciting stuff. And a reasonable person, correct. Yes, that is him. And Monty's been someone that's been following our project and hanging out with us and talking to us since the very first days. So, yeah, I mean, I might ask the guys again. I might just show something, but it just seemed like it'd be really cool to show it just in game once it's been done. Let's see. Oh man. I don't think I'll be able to ask today, but let me catch up on some stuff because some people asked some questions. VSN asked, do you have a favorite EQ expansion that you worked on? Lucklin was my sort of real introduction to full-time development work. And that's what got me on the team. I was just kind of an apprentice to an apprentice before that. Hanging out and working with Steve on some of the stuff that he put in for Velius was cool. But then Lucklin was when I was like really just tossed into the deep end. So I'd say Lucklin for that reason. And then Pop was kind of life-changing and great for us. And learned a lot. In hindsight, learned even more. And then people can feel free to disagree or whatever, but when we did Lost Dungeons of Norath, I thought it was really, really cool at the time. Legacy of Acacia was cool just because it was like, how do we make an expansion in like 4 months? The technical stuff that we did in Eldon was, it was just really cool. And it's nice to see, even if it's not the kind of game we want to make today, it's cool to see that the approach was used in other MMOs. And I thought just Legacy of Acacia was just, I thought it wound up being a really fun, fast, holy shit, we were able to do it kind of project. And wound up being cooler than we thought it would be. Plus it was the first digital download for us, which was an interesting approach. And then it was like clever problem solving, right? How do we do a starting city for the frogs? Let's take over another city, that kind of stuff. I thought the team was kind of on fire for that. And then I was not on Gates of Discord, but then I came back to take over and kind of like restart and get Omens of War done. And I was really proud of actually having that. Like, we scrapped everything that had been done prior to me getting back on the team, and then we got the expansion done in the amount of time that we said we were going to get it done for Omens. And it was during a period where people were pretty unhappy with Gates, and the company was apologizing a bunch and blah, blah, blah. So for Smed to pull me back on the team and for the team to pull that off, I was pretty proud. So yeah. Didn't dodge a bullet on Gates of Discord. Gates of Discord had challenges because they pulled Rich Waters, who is the creative director, like design lead, me, who I was the expansion lead / content lead, and Scott Hartzman, who is the tech director, and we were like very hands-on, very vocal leadership on the team. We got pulled off right as that expansion was started, and we were given like, basically we were told on Monday that we were going to start on EQ2 on Tuesday. So that is not the coolest thing to do to the team, and that's why they ran into some challenges with Gates. Hey Esan, what's up, buddy? Did you like the rating progression approach from Pop God Omens? Probably one of the biggest things I've missed in games today. Truly progressive rating. I mean, it was something that a lot of us were really into. I started rating, like really rating with a decent guild right around Velius, while I was working at Sony. One of the other developers, or one of the other aspiring designers, Steve, got me in his guild, so I transferred my character from my server and our little mom and pop guild and started raiding a ton with a guild on 7th Hammer. That was kind of like the premier raiding guild, and so then it was, I was just so fixated on raiding that I got tunnel vision as a designer, and you know, you could see that a lot of us were really into raiding just by the content that we were making at the time. Not that I'm saying the content itself was bad or anything. It's just you know, we missed. In hindsight, everything always is easier, but we missed some opportunities to maybe do some things differently and better or whatever. But the rating was good. How long was I on EQ2? Like 3 weeks. I did not want to work on EQ2, so I asked to be moved to the planet side team. Teacher said from the previous conversation, I was just thinking it must be very difficult to gauge how quickly players will clear content before a second expansion is created. That's why we started testing even while we're developing. We've had people playing our content since December of last year, and so we start to get a little bit of an idea of feel and stuff. Nick, you just said activate. What? I've been rambling for so long, I don't even know if that was in reference to anything. Why didn't I want to work on EQ2? I said the word? Oh, planet side? Was that it? I said planet side and Nick appeared. Nick's been lurking the whole time waiting for the secret password. Did you have chicken wings today, Nick? I'm so jealous right now, dude. Oh my god. I bet they were delicious. So jealous. Better Red than Dead, joined Terran Republic. I could have sworn that Nick said that he was Terran. I think I asked. I found like an old Swiss Army knife in storage that was from Planet Side. That's when I asked, because it was Terran. I don't know. I don't think I had any other swag from them. Why didn't I want to work on EQ2? I didn't So there were at least 3 reasons why I didn't want to work on EQ2. One, it wasn't EQ. Like, it just didn't... Hey, Monty, I was just talking about you for a while. If you could scroll up, you would see your name. Salacious001 said Monty is a great artist when I was talking. Because I was like, I really want to show the stuff that you guys have been working on so bad. So exciting. But I think it's probably better or fairer to wait until you guys have got it in or whatever. But just like the little demo videos and images you've posted are so cool. So one, I didn't feel like it was EQ. It was set in EQ, but you know, in the universe, but it didn't feel like EQ to me. And we didn't necessarily have a close relationship. Like EQ1 and EQ2 folks didn't really... There wasn't as much like crossover in communication or whatever. Working on the EQ team during the heyday actually felt a lot like being the redheaded stepchild. You know what I mean? Like, it may sound weird, but it felt like none of the other teams liked us. And we're just kind of like, they didn't necessarily see the value in what we're doing, and the game was going to die any day. And, you know, it was just kind of like, and we weren't the ones that made the game in the first place. It was all the guys that left to go start Sigil or go to EQ2. And so just, you know, we didn't have like, we weren't like Star Wars Galaxies. We didn't have big whiteboards full of like Bartles, you know, quadrants and player motivations and all sorts of shit. We were just kind of like making what we were making. So that was it. It wasn't really like a tight sort of bond there anyway. I had concerns about the game's ability to run on people's machines and whether or not that was going to impact the success of the game. I was leaving a content lead position to potentially come in as like a content lead on EQ2, but I think they were also like, they were kind of wishy-washy on what my role was going to be. And so it's like, yeah, just come in and we'll figure it out, bro. And I was like, nah, but I get to make decisions and stuff on EQ. Why would I come in here and maybe just be working on some shit in a corner or whatever? Nah, I don't know about that. One of the guys that I hired onto the EQ team during Lost Dungeons had a previous friendship with the executive producer of EQ2 at the time. And so he was put into a pretty high level role straight out of the gate. So I hired him in as a designer. He went to EQ2. Then he was, I don't know what he was, to be honest. Maybe he was like creative design director or something like that. And I was already kind of like, well, I don't know if I want to work with this guy. So that was that. And then I looked at their tools and I did not like their tools. EQ basically looked a lot like this, right? Like EQ was a relational DB that was very, very just kind of bare bones. But if you can just think logically through the relationship of like the various tables and think, okay, this is an NPC, and NPC's foreign keyed over to certain attributes, right? And and it's made up of these flags and variables, right? It's, yes, I'm still listening, YouTube. And to make an NPC, or to get an NPC in the world, you make an NPC, you associate that NPC with a NPC spawn group. In our case, you take that spawn group and then you associate it with a, like a zone spawn, right? Here, you see the spawn group IDs, there's spawn commands, right? And our tooling's even better, but it's still very simple. Looking at the way that their tools worked and some of the stuff that they were already doing and their sort of data structure and all this shit, I was like, man, I don't I don't want to mess with this. So yeah, that was a lot of what was going on. And I was like, if I'm going to work on a fantasy game, I want to work on EQ1. But at the time I was just kind of like over it. So that's what I said. And they were kind enough to let me meet the PlanetSide team. And I went to, met the people that were in San Diego, but then flew out to St. Louis and spent a weekend there. And met those guys, and they seemed really cool, and they were all basically getting moved to San Diego. So hooked up with them to do some stuff that never made it in. They wanted to like build an economy and have some NPCs, space cows or some shit, dinosaurs that you killed, which was weird. It was like, why don't we put in like actual people? And then we broke off and started a new project that got canceled, a mercenary game. Why didn't they want me on EQ1 anymore? They pulled the three of us off to basically do two things, we were told. One, help support EQ2. And they really wanted me to be on EQ2. I didn't want to do it. And Scott and Rich stayed on EQ2. They wanted to basically help support EQ2, and they wanted to shake things up on EQ. Shake things up. And they shook it up, and then the Gates of Discord came out, and then they apologized for shaking it up, and they flew out a bunch of guild leaders, and they had a little carnival in our cul-de-sac, and they apologized and said, we'll never do that again. And then Smed announced I would be back on the team to the community at the same time that he told the team, which was awkward, but yeah, Nicodemus. I don't know if it takes courage. I just don't. It's, sometimes I do stuff that's maybe not in my best interest, but it's definitely what I believe. Let's see. Eacher says, last off topic, I want to change my career. 40 years old, software dev or dental surgeon. Liz Kimber said dental, way more cash, more specific hours. John said software dev that makes dental surgery simulator. If you could use it to help train dental surgeons, maybe there's cash in it. Dental surgeon in US, oh my God. Do that. It makes so much cash. Did I do 1, 2, 3? I did. Oh my gosh. Jasmine's going to be so proud of me. That's how I've been practicing doing 1, 2, 3 just so they can't catch me. You saw Inglourious Bastards, right? That's how they know you're American. So I've been practicing. 1, 2, 3. You have a strange accent, Mr. Lord. On the other hand now. Very funny, John. Where are you from? I'm from Bavaria. Americans and their sugar? Yeah. Yeah, you'll always have work, but it's just the pay difference between like dental surgery in the US and dental surgery in Germany. Oh my gosh, it's vast. If Jasmine didn't have to go through like, basically if she were to move, she can't just be a dental surgeon. If when we go back to the US, she has to like go through 2 years of schooling again. But yeah, the pay difference in the US is, gosh, 2.5 to 4 to 5 times as much. Want to see if you can work as a physiotherapist in Germany? Dreg, I have so much physical therapy in my future. I went to my first one today for my neck. It was awesome. Dragon! Dragon just gave out 10 gift subs to the community. That's badass. Thank you so much for your generosity. Hell's Ridge, Fallon Phoenix, Gotcher, Miko Bites, Corthan, Salacious 1, Blackula, Zukin, look at you. K Sims, and Elizaro. Congratulations. No commercials for you. Flashy Flash 89 said, I downloaded a WoW pack, Mangoes, last week and played around in Heidi SQL for hours. Had to install it as 2-hooked. That's cool to hear. WoW repack, sorry. Do you do other design work as well? Or was it just a curiosity? You got a gift sub, Zukin. I've got to watch your Zukin. I've got to watch your horse VOD. I've got it up on the other screen. Nicodemus, I'll be streaming next Tuesday. That's the 12th already. Holy shit, this month's flying by. But I'll be here, buddy. I will see you then. Enjoy your weekend. Oh, shit. Didn't mean to do that. I might have a few. Okay. Dude, when I saw you when I saw that it was there, I was like, "Oh my gosh." Star Stable flashbacks. Okay, Liz. I'll see you next Thursday then? Oh wait. I think Jasmine's birthday's next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, and we're gonna go out to somewhere where there's a little mountain, like this witch mountain. We've been there before, and spend the weekend hiking, so that's gonna be cool. Hats. Dreg, you work as a physio now, but you're thinking of finding something you can do from home? Oh, sorry, I read that you're looking to be one, not that you already were one. Unless you're saying you want to do it from home. Confused. Zukin, when I did not realize just how much horse knowledge existed until I worked at that company. It's insane how critical the girls are, depending on the breed. They critique the coat, they critique the musculature, the biomechanics, the trot. Just like, chill out, little girl. Kind of how it is working at a furniture place. Oh, I'd never considered that. I guess that makes sense. Good point, Chinny D. Chinny D said, next month, New World is launching a new expansion with mounts and some skill to level up and customize them. Be worth looking to see if they do anything cool with it. Very, very good point. Yeah, because we've looked at Star Stable, we've looked at BDO. We've definitely got some ideas. And this is another one of those areas where it's cool that Ollie's going to be doing a lot of the programming on it because he's got a lot of cool ideas as well, so. In the way he works, I mean, he's just like... He'll probably sit down and blast out something super cool for them over the course of a weekend or a week or whatever. Dragon, thank the wife for us. We appreciate it. It's very kind of y'all. Corthan asked, how is WY's working out with an open world this big? Any performance issues? None that I'm aware of. I don't recall Robert's mentioning anything so far. The song playing reminds me of the musical intro to The Package by Perfect Circle. I haven't listened to Perfect Circle in forever. John said, Age of Conan motion captured their horse mounts. We don't have that kind of budget, so I volunteered to put it on a horse costume and mocap instead. It's true. Zukin did do that. Have you seen the Scandinavian, like, I don't know, but in the Scandinavian countries, girls and young women, they have the stick horse competitions. Have you seen that? Can I show that without like any sort of a copyright strike or whatever? I think if I don't have any sound. You think I'm joking? YouTube. I'll just have to figure out like... Yeah, the hobby horse. Hobby horse, that's what it's called. Air guitar for girls. That's funny. Basically, hobby horse. Now, be nice when you watch it, but it is silly. You gotta admit it's silly. But some of the stuff they pull off is insane. Okay, hold on. I gotta. Watch this. And yes, some of the women I worked with at Star Stable would run around with these things in the office. We had a giant office. I want to see some jumping. There we go. Is it just, is it just a for fun thing, or? No, this is a legit competition, Zukin. They're deadly serious. Yeah. I mean, there's some effort put into it, right? Like, is there a reasoning behind the hobby horse? I haven't researched it, to be honest. Isn't the wheelbarrow parkour kind of a big thing in Germany? I've never heard of that. And as you can tell by my ability to count to 3, I am quite the German now. But I've never heard of wheelbarrow parkour. And keep in mind, I do spend a lot of time with a wheelbarrow. Okay, you look it up. Extreme wheelbarrowing? I've never heard of that. It's just like the male version of the hobby horse competition. What's up, Brown Butcher? But it seems very different because one involves the simulation of a horse. The other one involves the simulation of a wheelbarrow. It's good to see you, buddy. Wheelbarrow parkour. All right, let me Control Shift T. German wheelbarrow parkour. What is this about to be? Holy shit. I thought I was just being creative when I was doing crazy stuff with my wheelbarrow in the garden. I didn't realize I was participating in a German pastime. What? This is literally me in the garden. German ancestral spirits calling to me. What? He just did a board slide. Wall ride, board slide, board slide. What? He just did a hand switcheroo. Dark slide. Underflip. I do the little bounce 360 spinny things, but I thought I was just killing time on my way back to the dirt pile. People need more struggle in their lives if this is a thing. Yeah, I do think we should look at these examples of how good life has become. Dude, he had an audience. Just gold, no stickers or adverts. Jintaki, because we gotta make some brands, buddy. How dare life become good? Drag. It's a fair point. Though I do think there's a certain amount of maintenance we've got to do on some of the basics. Sign nearby, no skateboards, no bikes, no wheelbarrows. I can see that. It makes sense. Poor rollerbladers. They're like, what about us? Ooh, he did add an interior first. Bro, how many wheelbarrows can you ollie? Well, think about it. If you can ollie If you can bounce ollie that wheelbarrow over like 3 wheelbarrows and be behind it, it's kind of like the hobby horse girls. That's some good ups. And that's a decent vertical. First, you probably weren't here earlier. I'm going through and I made a NPC in a spawn group that's just Sungreet Strand placeholder, and just tossing in a bunch of placeholder spawns just so they're in. It may make it easier for us, whoever winds up making some adjustments or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's a lot easier just to come in and like replace the spawn group, move the spawner to, you know, wherever, or add some commands and just save it out. So it's already kind of there. So I've done that with the farms and the tavern and some other stuff. Dark Inside said, sorry, I was eating dinner and getting ready for work in an hour or so. It was pork chop, mashed potatoes, and veggies. Nice. I had pork chops and sauerkrauts because of Germany, and some boiled cauliflower for dinner. Your mashed potatoes sound good. Which reminds me, I've got like 4 containers of potatoes that I need to pull in from the garden. They're just sitting there. Being all potatoey. Need to move these guys. And these are placeholders as well. You want pho for dinner? I always enjoy it when there's a place next to where Jasmine works. I always enjoy it when we get it. But it's not very forever filling, you know what I mean? It's good, and then it just kind of disappears. Was it Control F? Control Shift F? Where did it go? It's way up there. Oh man. Why did it go up? Oh, there it is. I was like, pho is great in winter. Ooh, fair point. Favorite Vietnamese is banh mi. Is that the dumpling? Is that the baguette? Okay, yeah, French style sandwich. I don't know that I've ever had it. Seen it. I don't know why I've never had it. What is that sandwich? Should try one soon. Are you all gonna hide a bunch of stuff in this game like how EQ just has a ridiculous amount of mysteries? That is one of our missions, is just to have a ridiculous amount of mysteries. And we've got stuff going on the back end in terms of triggers and eventual scheduling of stuff or whatever that's gonna help on that front. We want to have so much of that stuff. If we could just have one person dedicated to doing nothing but jamming in mysteries, for sure. And I'm not being sarcastic. I'm saying it in a silly manner, but I'm not being sarcastic at all. 1000%. Mystery, the term mystery comes up a bunch. The world should always feel mysterious and not solved. Right? That does remind me, shit, I need to put in an issue for compound triggers. Because we have the ability to trigger stuff right now, right? Like, and in terms of timing, we don't have lunar cycle in yet. We don't have day of the week in yet. But we do have time based on 15-minute increments, in-game time. But we need compound triggers, so 12:15 we have, but we don't have 12:15 on Wednesday, for example. So, well, you gotta have two people so that the other doesn't know about the first guy's mysteries. It's already kind of like that. I'm already seeing stuff. I'm like, huh, what? Where'd this come from? So, and I've got the feeling it's kind of the same for, like, if First hadn't logged in and checked out the stream, he wouldn't have known about the stuff I was adding right now. So over time we're gonna decentralize, and we're going to have each of our cells, all of our designers will be forbidden to speak with each other. We'll decentralize like a James Bond terrorist organization. Decentralized blockchain dev coding? You know what? Now that you say it that way, we might be showered in money. It's a Web4 decentralized blockchain, AI-based, highly diverse game. Oh shit, I just heard bags of money fall right in my yard. Even the devs don't know where the AI put the Easter eggs? Oh my gosh. You're just making AI sound even cooler. Get some more placeholder spawns in here. Why was the old world in EQ so static? Like having a dev or two adding new mysteries or quests in Freeport or whatever could make the world seem so much less static, even if it was small changes on the other expansions. Because we didn't even really understand the concept of project management until Planes of Power. I don't know if there's even a schedule until Planes of Power. We crunched, like, when the first thing I really worked on was Lucklin, and I mean that was just months of crunching with no plan, right? You know, I was an apprentice, brand new to even making content, and they're like, hey, you need to put in an epic quest for this class. What is it? Beast Lord. What do they do? We're not sure yet. Isn't the expansion shipping soon? Alright, I'll put in a quest, right? Like, so when that's going on with like a very aggressive expansion schedule, you gotta expect that having the foresight and just the bandwidth to go back and like do interesting stuff in the old world, we missed that opportunity. And it's hard to justify the value. There wasn't a strong emphasis on the live game. It was more of, you know, from a business standpoint, there was a strong emphasis on making new stuff, right? New expansions. So yeah, that's kind of what happened there. I'm not saying it was right. I worked on a couple of revamps. I worked on Kazakh revamp and the Chardock revamp. And that was kind of something, but it wasn't like we had a good live operations plan where we're updating the world and adding more content density to the old world and stuff. So definitely a lesson learned. That's something we talk about a lot with our game now. Instead of making the world constantly just bigger and bigger and more spread out, taking that time and developer bandwidth and just making it a deeper, richer world over time is something we've been discussing. It was always said that a lot of recipes in EQ are never worked out, but it would be nice one day if someone accidentally leaked them. Well, if that's true. I thought every time somebody's asked in the past that most things have been figured out, but I could be wrong. With TACP releasing their DB, I've been tinkering around with it and also wondering if you knew the story behind why the spawn table was called Spawn 2. In my time, the spawn table was not called spawn table. It was called encounter table. And the shorthand for it was ENC. So, could be that they're not 100% representative of the actual DB behind the scenes. Not sure. How were recipes discovered back in the day? I think it was just a lot of trial and error, wasn't it? And that was part of the fun. People took pride in figuring it out. Did I miss something above? Sandwich talk. Ooh. Dad died when he ate those mushrooms for... Yeah, we're like, how did they ever figure out how to make some of this shit in EverQuest? I'm like, how did they ever figure out how to make some of this shit in real life? You see it all the time. It's like, who was the first person to eat that? How did they figure out that was poisonous? What about the other thing? Down here, we'll have fire beetles. Fire beetles. I guess I could go ahead and just make a placeholder volume. And just do some fire beetles, eh? The second guy who tried pufferfish was pretty bold. Yeah. Oh my god. Mr. Stabby the Robot said, in response to how they ever figure out how it's poisonous, I think they just handed it to whomever in the tribe had been kicked in the head by a mule. You know what? It's probably early politics, right? A lot of tribal politics. They're like, Stabby. Oh, you've shown so much courage over the years, Stabby. We know that you would want to be the one that tries this first. Here, we've saved this for you. Put you on the spot. And they've just been trying to get rid of you. It's funny, that just reminded me of So those of you that actually hear and care, when we get to the trolls, you'll realize that they've got a kind of a similar political system. It'll be fun. I'm not going to say anything more than that, but there's definitely an in-game analog for what I just described for controls. Trolls sound like your parents. That's a scary thought. Mm-hmm. SGS. Beetle Cave. PH. We'll make this a volume, a sphere. Oh wait, that's on the next one. I'm being dumb. Make this a volume, sphere. And we'll do eight for now. This is all placeholder. It don't matter. Then we'll do another one. And that'll be for the rare. .1. Cool. Where does this go? Cool. It's fun exploring some areas in our game, and we'll have some stuff spawning there inevitably, so I'll probably have to make that a box volume instead. But it's all good. Here, create a click, modify this guy, also make him a sphere for now. Oh, it's big. That'll be fine. It's all fine. I'll also make this like 10. Save. Yep. If it's volumes, I guess each of the volumes should probably at least have a wander in volume for now as a placeholder. Tag that other volume as well. Oops, missed it. Move this guy over here. Nope, not over there. Over here. What are your thoughts on expansions completely invalidating all the progress made in previous expansions? It doesn't sound fun. If you're trying to sell expansions, I think it makes sense, right? Like if you're just trying to sell the expansion and move people into the next expansion, if it's kind of a more linear model of content progression, then I understand why it happens. But yeah, don't agree with it. Well, I don't think it is appropriate for what we're doing, but I could be talking out of my ass. That might be one where I'm wrong, but I don't believe I am. Speaking of recipes in EQ, when I was a kid, I was convinced you could fish a super rare, awesome weapon eventually. 1999, there was not really a lot of telling me I couldn't. But it's a good wish to have, right? I think it's cool. What if there was an ultra rare, like a 1 in 10,000% chance of fishing out of ring, and there's only one of those rings on the server, and it's got a life of its own. It's always trying to trick you into getting it closer to a more powerful master. Yeah, Dreg, that old approach of just having items that, you know, having gear that really had some longevity. I believe is the general preference. Some dumbass 8-year-old like me found it fishing in North Row. Exactly. And then you're trying to figure out, like, why was it there? How was it there? Is it that it was just a very low % spawn chance, or did it require a certain lunar alignment? Did it require a certain lunar alignment overlapping on a certain day when you're fishing in that certain spot? And if it's a ring, it probably doesn't matter what bait you're using. Not sure if it's a silly thing someone made or a legit thing. I can tell you, Zukin, based on available tools, it is not the thing that we will eventually be doing. We have talked about making both artifacts, so server unique items, and items with maintenance conditions. So you need to do certain things in order to keep possession of the item. Yeah, my hand's actually getting sore. Oh, it's about that time anyway, but so like an item that requires you to kill certain NPCs on a regular basis, or you know, that kind of thing. Like the Spear of Blood, it must be stored in a cauldron full of blood when it's not in use, otherwise the owner is driven into a frenzy. Yep, stuff like that. Yeah, Liz, I'm almost there. I'm gonna. Wonder in volume, chance. Cool. All right, so we got some placeholder spawns in, adjusted some stuff. We'll get some more spawn volumes in and stuff like that, but it's a little something to work with. Make life a little bit easier for some folks. We definitely have some areas to fill out still. Quarry. We've talked about this beetle cave being kind of dynamic, and there being surges of beetles that then work their way down the path here, out of the cave, down the path, and into the quarry and some stuff like that. So Drake asks, is multi-questing going to be a thing? I forget. I could have sworn our stance on that is no. If we wanted that sort of ability, then we would just build it into the system. I think that's it, but I could be wrong on that one. Hey, DDJ. Sorry, but it is now 11 p.m. on my end. The Red Bull is empty. My hand is starting to actually get a little sore, and I think I'm going to wrap up for today and be back on Tuesday. DDJ said it's all good. Had you on the background but couldn't listen. Oh, I'm sorry. The VOD will be up. Corthan, have a great day. Dreg, you're very welcome. Thanks for being here. Fielder, thank you. You have a good weekend as well. Thanks for the questions and the inputs. Reasonable person, good to meet you. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for being here. Flashy Flash, you're very welcome. DDJ, my evening is over. I'm gonna read some news and go to sleep so that I can wake up to some delicious jasmine coffee. Miko Bites, you're very welcome. Thank you for being here. A Dragon, thank you again for your generosity. It is very nice of you to give out the gift subs, and again, thank the missus for us. Good night, Zukin. I'm going to watch your horsey video tomorrow. Brex, get through the advertisements, buddy. Good night. Fanaticis, see ya. Fanaticis said peace, and for some reason I wanted to say I'm Audi 5000 G. Thank you, Brown Butcher. Good to see you again in here at least. I've seen you in Discord. Thanks, Brex. I don't even know if I get any ad money. First, good night. We should catch up soon. I wanna make sure I'm able to answer your questions on getting stuff in. Mr. Stabby the Robots, stick it on ice. I'm just gonna stick it under a pillow and go to sleep. Night, Liz Biscuits. Good night, Dark Inside. Thank you for sharing your dinner with us. My fingers are my money makers. Take care of them. Who told you? Shh. All right. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to push the button now and get out of here. I will see you on Tuesday. Bye, y'all. Oh, Brex, there you go. No more commercials for you. Thank you even more, Dragon. I will see you guys on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.